Have you ever pondered what secrets lie beneath those picture-perfect family portraits? I once thought I had life's mystery solved. Everything seemed as peaceful as the gentle ripples on Lake Washington's surface near my home. That was before my world began to unravel, revealing dark truths I never expected to find. Before we embark on this tumultuous tale, I'd love to know where you're watching from. Share your location in the comments below. If you find yourself drawn into this story, don't forget to subscribe and stay connected for more chapters ahead. I'm Marcus Calderon, 41 years old, employed as a senior aerospace engineer at Boeing's Seattle facility. My daily routine revolves around technical drawings, tight schedules, and the constant drone of engines in our testing facility. It's demanding work that requires absolute precision and focus. The responsibility weighs heavily, but I embrace it all for my son, Javier. At 10 years old, he's my reason for being, a special soul who experiences the world uniquely through his mild autism. Our home is a contemporary haven on the outskirts of Seattle, featuring minimalist architecture and expansive windows that frame the lake's beauty. It's our private retreat. Each morning follows a familiar pattern. I prepare coffee while Javier perches at the kitchen island, immersed in his astronomy books. The stars captivate him. He traces celestial patterns with gentle fingers, explaining stellar formation in his quiet voice. Communication doesn't always come easily to him. Words can become challenging, and social situations often overwhelm him. Yet his emotional intelligence runs deep, sensing subtle changes that I often miss until they become obvious. Since losing my wife to a tragic accident 5 years ago, we formed our own little team, learning to face life's challenges together. I've dedicated myself to providing him with every opportunity, protecting him from a world that sometimes struggles to understand his uniqueness. Enter Sabrina Voss, who appeared in my life 2 years ago, a 35-year-old financial expert from Seattle's bustling downtown. Brilliant and beautiful, she naturally draws attention wherever she goes. Our paths crossed at a Boeing corporate event. Her distinctive laughter caught my attention, and soon we were building what I believed was a genuine connection. She spoke enthusiastically about our shared future, and I trusted she would accept Javier as her own. We planned an intimate lakeside wedding ceremony, what I imagined would be the beginning of our new life together. Javier embraced the wedding plans with pure enthusiasm. He'd practice his ring-bearer duties in our living room with characteristic focus, each step measured and deliberate. I noticed Sabrina observing him occasionally, her smile strained, but I dismissed it as wedding-related stress. Recently, however, I detected subtle changes in her behavior. A faint exhale when Javier shared his passion for pulsars, an absent look when he held my hand in crowded places. Minor signals I convinced myself were insignificant. That day, I waited outside the Evergreen Support Center where Javier attended his speech therapy sessions. The Seattle air carried the familiar scent of evergreens and rain-soaked soil. While checking my emails against the car, Clara Hensley approached me. In her early 30s, she possessed that rare combination of warmth and stability that made her an exceptional teacher. She'd been instrumental in helping Javier express himself, and I valued her professional judgment immensely. Concern etched her features as she spoke. She described how Javier had grown unusually withdrawn lately, his fidgeting more pronounced. When she gently questioned him, his response shattered my heart. Sabrina had suggested he might not serve as ring-bearer after all, citing the presence of important guests and the possibility of him making mistakes. Clara hesitated before revealing more. She'd accidentally overheard Sabrina during a phone conversation the previous week, expressing frustration about Javier's behavioral traits in harsh, impatient tones. The revelation settled heavily in my chest, sending a wave of unease through me. Just then, Javier emerged, his backpack draped over one shoulder, eyes downcast. He appeared vulnerable in a way that deeply disturbed me. Clara's gaze met mine, laden with unspoken worry. I managed a steady thank you, despite the turmoil rising within. As Javier settled into the car, clutching his beloved book, I couldn't dismiss the growing suspicion that my soon-to-be wife harbored a darker side, one that threatened to destroy everything we'd built. The drive home was tense, my grip firm on the steering wheel. Javier remained unusually quiet in the back seat, absorbed in his astronomy book, but missing his typical animated commentary about stellar formations. I noticed his fingers gripping the pages with unusual intensity, a telltale sign of inner distress I'd learned to recognize. Lake Washington stretched beside us as we approached home, its surface mirror-like beneath the overcast sky. Entering our house, the modern design and sophisticated furnishings that once provided comfort now felt sterile, like props in a performance I desperately wanted to end. I tucked Javier into bed that evening, catching his fleeting glance before he turned away. He pulled the blanket up to shield half his face, reverting to a childhood habit I hadn't seen in years. Though I yearned to hear directly from him about Sabrina's words, I knew better than to push when he withdrew into himself. Instead, I placed a gentle kiss on his forehead and assured him we'd discuss everything tomorrow. His silent nod resonated deeply, leaving a heaviness in my chest. In the kitchen later, I sat bathed in the blue glow of my laptop screen, shadows dancing across the countertop. Despite the mounting work emails demanding attention, my thoughts remained fixated on Clara's revelations. Sabrina's impatient tone from that overheard conversation kept replaying in my mind. Unable to contain my restlessness, I grabbed my car keys and headed downtown. Earlier, Sabrina had messaged about meeting at the Fairmont Olympic to discuss wedding arrangements. Though I'd initially declined, given what I'd learned, I now felt compelled to seek answers. The hotel's imposing structure came into view, its historic brick exterior illuminated against the darkness. Entering the lobby, I was enveloped by the distinct aroma of polished mahogany and luxury perfumes. Crystal chandeliers sparkled above while smooth jazz notes floated from the bar area. Sabrina stood by the grand staircase, her navy dress perfectly fitted, hair styled in an immaculate wave. Her smile upon seeing me appeared practiced, failing to illuminate her eyes. With each step closer, I felt the emotional gulf between us expanding. We settled at a secluded table in the lounge, surrounding conversations melting into background noise. Cutting straight to the point, I shared Clara's information about Javier's concerns and his removal from the ring-bearer role. Her expression momentarily betrayed irritation before regaining composure. Leaning in, elbows resting on the table, she mentioned planning to discuss this, explaining it was about simplifying things, suggesting Javier might struggle with the attention. Her delivery seemed rehearsed, calculated. I challenged her explanation, emphasizing Javier's weeks of dedicated practice and genuine desire to participate. Her composed demeanor finally cracked. Leaning back with crossed arms, her tone turned businesslike. She confirmed, instructing the planner to exclude him from the ceremony. When pressed for reasons, her response came swift and cutting. She revealed the wedding's dual purpose as a networking opportunity with the Banks Board, crucial for a long-pursued promotion. She couldn't risk Javier potentially stumbling, dropping the rings, or freezing before her important guests. Her gaze remained unwavering as she defended it as a practical decision, silently challenging my opposition. The room spun around me. Memories flashed through my mind. Sabrina sharing pizza with Javier, helping him solve puzzles, moments I treasured as evidence of her genuine care. Now they felt empty, like carefully staged scenes in an elaborate deception. My fingers tightened beneath the table as she continued speaking, explaining how she couldn't let anything compromise her special day. I interrupted her mid-explanation. I firmly stated that Javier wasn't some problem to be managed. He was my son, our family. Her expression hardened as she moved closer, her voice turning glacial. She urged me to face reality, stating that a child like him wouldn't align with the image she needed to maintain, especially with everything at stake. That moment shattered something within me. Rising abruptly, my chair grating against the floor, I spoke with a calmness that belied the rage burning inside. I declared that without Javier's complete inclusion, there would be no wedding. Her composed facade crumbled, replaced by visible disbelief. She grasped for my arm, claiming I was being irrational, suggesting we could find a solution. I stepped back. I announced it was finished, demanding she exit my life permanently. She attempted to speak, but faltered, and I glimpsed fear flash across her features. Without waiting for her response, I departed, leaving the lobby's warmth for Seattle's misty evening. At home, I found myself at the kitchen window, gazing at the lake's inky vastness. The person who had trusted Sabrina with his dreams just hours ago had vanished. In his place stood someone more resolute, more enraged, determined to protect what truly mattered. The sound of Javier's peaceful breathing from above served as an anchor, drawing me back from despair. Yet Clara's warning persisted, that intercepted call suggesting darker implications. Sabrina's statements in the lounge weren't merely cruel, they seemed strategic. I couldn't dismiss the feeling that I'd only glimpsed the surface of her duplicity. Whatever secrets she harbored, I would uncover them. For Javier's sake, I would dismantle everything. Rest eluded me that night. Stretched out on the couch, watching moonlight dance on the lake's gentle waves through the windows, my thoughts churned endlessly. Sabrina's words at the Fairmont echoed relentlessly, each repetition more painful than the last. But beyond her rejection of Javier, Clara's warning about that phone conversation haunted me, like an unsolved puzzle demanding attention. Though I'd ended our relationship, my instinct screamed that this situation was far from concluded. The story was still unfolding. Dawn arrived with a dreary drizzle, quintessential Seattle weather. I prepare Javier's favorite breakfast, pancakes generously topped with fresh blueberries. He merely prodded them listlessly with his fork, his gaze distant and unfocused, barely consuming any food. My attempts to elicit a smile by inquiring about his latest astronomical fascination were met with just a shrug. His wordless response hurt more deeply than any heated exchange could have. I dispatched a brief email requesting a day off work, then contacted the wedding coordinator. I terminated all arrangements, from the venue to the floral decorations, instructing her to disseminate the news. 200 guests would soon learn the reality. The wedding was canceled because Sabrina couldn't embrace my son. Others' judgments meant nothing to me. Let them gossip. By midday, my phone buzzed incessantly. Co-workers extended awkward condolences, several Boeing executives checked in, and Sabrina sent one message. She implored me to reconsider, claiming I had embarrassed her. I erased it without response. The aftermath could wait. I needed mental clarity. Around 2 o'clock, the doorbell rang. Clara appeared on the porch, raindrops dotting her coat, her face reflecting both concern and relief. I welcomed her inside, serving coffee as she took a seat at the kitchen table. Javier briefly emerged from the hallway, offered a timid wave, then retreated upstairs with his book. Clara spoke directly. She explained her hesitation to visit, but following our previous day's conversation, she felt compelled to speak up. Leaning forward, clutching her coffee mug, she described an incident from the previous week. While organizing the classroom, she'd overheard Sabrina, who had come to collect Javier early, speaking on the phone near the entrance. Her voice was hushed but urgent, discussing plans to gain control of my accounts post-marriage. She'd emitted a harsh laugh, adding that everything would soon align perfectly. Though Clara missed the remainder, the calculating tone lingered in her memory. My insides churned. I placed my cup down, the coffee now tasting acrid. Sabrina's dismissal of Javier wasn't isolated. She'd been orchestrating something more sinister, targeting my assets. I expressed gratitude to Clara, assuring her I'd address it, and showed her out. Her departing glance conveyed silent concern for Javier's well-being. Alone again, I paced through the living room, connecting the dots. Sabrina's recent push for combined finances, her newfound interest in my Boeing projects. I'd attributed it to pre-wedding anxiety. Now it appeared more calculated. I needed assistance. I reached out to Hector Ruiz, my former college companion, who had evolved into a cybersecurity expert. He resided in the Capitol Hill neighborhood across town, a lean individual with an uncanny ability to uncover hidden information. He picked up after 2 rings, his cheerful tone shifting upon hearing my distress. I shared everything: the broken engagement, Clara's revelation, my growing concerns. Without hesitation, he promised to arrive within the hour. True to his commitment, he appeared at my doorstep, his laptop bag draped across his shoulder, rainwater trickling from his hooded jacket. We positioned ourselves at the dining table, with only Javier's gentle footsteps above breaking the silence. Hector's hands moved swiftly across the keyboard. He began by investigating Sabrina's digital presence, accessing bank statements, phone records, and any other legally obtainable information. Within a few hours, he discovered something significant. He uncovered a series of encrypted communications between Sabrina and an account linked to Trent Maddox. That name struck a chord. Trent was a former junior engineer at Boeing, an ambitious but arrogant individual. His career had ended after I exposed his involvement in leaking confidential information to competitors. He'd harbored resentment since then, publicly threatening retribution throughout Seattle. Hector decoded the encryption, revealing their elaborate scheme. Their conspiracy had been ongoing for months. Sabrina had been supplying Trent with information about my current project, a revolutionary propulsion system that Boeing had heavily invested in. He'd identified a questionable international buyer, promising substantial compensation. The wedding was her strategic entry point. She'd orchestrated the merger of our finances, preparing documents I'd trustingly signed without scrutiny. Post-marriage, she'd have unrestricted access to deplete my accounts while Trent monetized the stolen data. My professional reputation would be destroyed, with Javier becoming an unintended victim. Hector reclined, his expression serious, emphasizing this transcended personal betrayal into corporate espionage. I gazed at the monitor, fury coursing through me. Recalling Sabrina's smirk from the previous evening, her calculated composure, I realized my own naivety. Trent's vendetta was comprehensible, but Sabrina's betrayal cut deeper. I'd invested my heart, constructed a future around her, only to discover I'd been manipulated from the beginning. Upstairs, Javier's book fell with a thud, reminding me of everything at stake. I turned to Hector, determined to thwart their plans, regardless of the cost. He nodded, already accessing additional files. The battle had commenced, and retreat wasn't an option. Hector's laptop cast an eerie glow across the dimly lit dining room, highlighting the sharp contours of his concentrated face. The exposed email exchanges between Sabrina and Trent revealed their malicious plot, a devastating scheme poised to destroy my life. Inaction wasn't an option. My blood boiled with the need for immediate retaliation before they could execute their next move. Javier's soft footsteps echoed from above, a poignant reminder of what I stood to lose. I expressed to Hector the urgency of preemptive action. He concurred, emphasizing that evidence alone wouldn't suffice. We needed a foolproof strategy to demolish their plans completely. The following day, I navigated through downtown traffic to Boeing's imposing headquarters, a magnificent structure of glass and steel overlooking the waterfront. Owen Kessler welcomed me in his corner office, with a Puget Sound sparkled beyond the panoramic windows. A project director in his mid-50s, Owen possessed a gravelly voice and a particular empathy for autism, having raised a son who shared Javier's challenges. I disclosed everything: Sabrina's deception, Trent's vengeful agenda, the compromised propulsion data. Owen's expression hardened as he absorbed the information, his fingers rhythmically tapping his desk. While Trent's involvement didn't surprise him, Sabrina's participation left him stunned. He committed his support, arranging immediate access to Boeing security resources. Returning home, Hector and I meticulously crafted our counterattack. Direct police involvement seemed premature. Despite our solid evidence, skilled lawyers might help them evade justice. We needed irrefutable proof of their wrongdoing. Owen's subsequent call proposed an opportunity: an upcoming charity gala at the Seattle Convention Center. Boeing's co-sponsor event would raise funds for autism programs. My speaking invitation, suggested by Sabrina weeks ago, suddenly revealed its sinister purpose. They'd planned to use this platform to release falsified data, destroy my reputation, and facilitate Trent's profitable scheme. We transformed their trap into our advantage. Javier would join me on stage as youth ambassador, a suggestion Owen enthusiastically endorsed. Hector contacted his trusted cybercrime detective at Seattle PD, ensuring discreet surveillance. Meanwhile, our opponents grew desperate. 2 days pre-gala, Child Protective Services contacted me. A professional female voice cited an anonymous report claiming I neglected Javier, allegedly leaving him unsupervised during late work hours. Though I knew the accusation was false, its timing bore Sabrina's unmistakable signature of desperation. The CPS representative arrived promptly the following morning, a stern-faced woman armed with a clipboard and probing questions. Javier perched anxiously on our living room couch, his beloved star book clutched tightly to his chest, his eyes darting nervously as she inquired about his daily routine. I methodically walked her through our lives, showcasing the well-stocked refrigerator filled with Javier's preferred snacks and the meticulously organized therapy schedules prominently displayed on the wall. After an hour of thorough inspection, she departed with an unreadable expression, though I was confident we'd passed her scrutiny. Nevertheless, the invasion left me deeply unsettled. Later, Javier snuggled close, his voice small as he questioned if he'd done something wrong. I embraced him fiercely, assuring him that none of this was his fault, could never be his fault. That evening, Hector's investigation revealed the tip had originated from a disposable phone connected to Trent's IP address. Their tactics had escalated beyond mere professional sabotage. They were now targeting our family bonds. The gala evening arrived with palpable excitement filling the convention center. Crystal chandeliers cast a warm glow over the elegant crowd dressed in tuxedos and flowing gowns, while champagne flowed freely amidst animated conversations. I wore a tailored dark suit, while Javier looked dashing in his navy blazer, nervously handling the ring box he'd insisted on carrying. Owen met us near the stage, his commanding presence reassuring. He confirmed that plainclothes officers were strategically positioned throughout the crowd. Hector maintained vigilance from the tech booth, monitoring his tablet for any suspicious activity. Scanning the room, I noticed Sabrina stationed near the back, her crimson dress standing out amid the subdued colors. Trent lingered beside her, wearing a calculating smirk, with a thick envelope tucked under his arm. They were joined by Gordon Pierce, a notorious lawyer known for his involvement in Boeing's contentious legal battles. My anxiety intensified. They brought legal reinforcement. The program proceeded smoothly, with speeches delivered on schedule. Owen's powerful voice introduced me over the microphone. Taking the stage with Javier's small hand clasped in mine, we stood together as the lights dimmed and a spotlight illuminated us. I began speaking, my voice unwavering despite my internal turmoil. I shared our story, how Javier had taught me resilience, and why children like him deserved every opportunity to excel. I described our journey, from interpreting his silent moments to celebrating his achievements. Javier stood taller beside me as I spoke, while the audience remained captivated, some dabbing tears, others nodding in understanding. I noticed Sabrina's expression tighten and Trent's smirk fade. Our genuine connection had caught them off guard. Midway through my speech, Hector's text arrived. I noticed Sabrina and Trent shifting position, making their way toward a group of journalists near the bar area. Gordon followed closely, his briefcase already open with documents at the ready. I continued my address, weaving in meaningful words about trust's dual nature, its power to strengthen or destroy. Javier's gentle hand squeeze reassured me he was holding up well. A quick glance at Owen confirmed our strategy with his subtle nod. Everything was positioned perfectly. I concluded by advocating for children who perceive the world uniquely, my voice trembling with emotion as I drew Javier closer. The audience responded with thunderous, heartfelt applause that drowned out my inner doubts. That's when the confrontation unfolded. Sabrina stepped forward, her voice cutting through the applause, announcing she had information to share. Trent aggressively thrust his envelope toward a reporter, claiming it contained evidence of my negligence in the propulsion project that had endangered lives. Gordon joined in, brandishing manipulated documents, his voice dripping with accusations. The room fell silent as all eyes turned toward them. Before their performance could continue, 3 officers emerged from the crowd, badges gleaming. Hector's detective took charge, calmly announcing their arrest for corporate espionage and fraudulent activities. Sabrina stood paralyzed, her complexion ashen. Trent attempted to flee, but was quickly restrained by an officer. Gordon's briefcase slipped from his grasp, sending papers flying everywhere. Chaos erupted instantly. Though reporters surged forward with flashing cameras, the officers swiftly removed the trio. I remained rooted in place, feeling Javier's rapid but steady breathing against me. Owen's hand landed firmly on my shoulder, confirming our success. The crowd's reaction mixed cheers with hushed conversations. Looking down at Javier's brave, wide-eyed expression filled me with immense pride. We'd weathered their assault and remained standing. Yet when Sabrina's venomous gaze found mine through the commotion, Her silently mouthed words sent a chill through me. This victory wasn't final. Driving Javier home later, the gala's tumult faded to background noise as city lights streaked past like meteors. He rested against the window, still clutching his ring box, a small symbol of our triumph. Though Sabrina's threatening glare haunted me, the reality of their defeat provided some comfort. The victory felt bittersweet, but one look at Javier's peaceful expression confirmed every decision had been justified. The aftermath unfolded with crushing intensity. Trent's trial concluded with a 5-year prison sentence for espionage and fraud, his characteristic arrogance replaced by defeated resignation as the judge delivered the verdict. The mountain of evidence Hector had meticulously gathered, including damning emails and wire transfers, proved insurmountable. Boeing severed all ties, permanently blacklisting him throughout the industry. Sabrina negotiated a different path, striking a deal with prosecutors. That required her departure from Seattle and adherence to a strict gag order to avoid charges. Rumors suggested she relocated to Denver, her once promising career now in shambles, her former charm powerless against persistent whispers. Gordon Pierce's legal career crumbled as he lost his license, becoming merely a cautionary tale in professional circles. At home, life took a healing turn. Javier's resilience shone through as his laughter once again brightened our days. Clara's increased presence provided steady comfort in the aftermath. During a clear afternoon at Gasworks Park, I proposed marriage, and her tear-filled eyes accompanied her acceptance, along with her wish for an intimate ceremony. We exchanged vows there several months later, surrounded by 40 guests scattered across the verdant hillside, Seattle's skyline shimmering in the background. Javier performed his ring-bearer duties impeccably, his pressed blazer matching his confident stride. His proud smile as he presented the ring touched my heart deeply. Clara's whispered words during their embrace brought pure joy to his face. That precious moment, backdropped by the park's iconic rusted structures, marked our fresh start. Professional success followed. The propulsion project exceeded expectations, and I invested the bonus in establishing a skills center for autistic children. Javier thrived in the inaugural class, developing his passion for model rocketry with growing self-assurance. However, Sabrina's presence resurfaced one final time through an unmarked envelope from Denver. Inside lay a gala photograph showing Javier and me on stage, marked with red ink, accompanied by an ominous note. "You think this is over?" My trembling hands reduced it to ashes in the sink. Hector's investigation led nowhere beyond an anonymous P.O. box. Though physically absent, her vindictiveness lingered like an unshakable shadow. Time revealed deeper truths. Family strength lies not in flawlessness, but in weathering storms together. Sabrina's betrayal taught harsh lessons about blind trust and love's potential to mask avarice. Javier's quiet resilience demonstrated what truly matters. I'd nearly sacrificed everything pursuing an illusion. Now, with Clara beside me and Javier's cheerful calls echoing from the yard, I've discovered authentic happiness. And so our tale draws to its conclusion. How did this resolution resonate with you? Did it align with your expectations, or did it take you by surprise? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this journey touched your heart, remember to like and subscribe for future stories. Until we meet again, thank you for being part of this experience.